My name is Elke Malden. I'm 28 years old, the oldest of two daughters, the one who always handles things, whether I want to or not. If you ask my parents, I'm dependable. If you ask me, I'm the family's default cleaning crew, emotional shock absorber, and on-call event planner. I work front of house at a hotel. Schedules, events, seating charts, all the little invisible details that make strangers feel celebrated. Ironically, in my own family, I've never been celebrated. I've just been used. My sister Leia is 24. Leia is glitter, chaotic, creative, floating. Mom calls her our star. Dad calls her a free spirit. I call her the reason I learned to keep a dish towel on my shoulder before I hit puberty. Growing up in our small, loud house, Leia always had an audience. I always had a chore list. When Mom had people over, I scrubbed fingerprints off the fridge while Leia changed outfits in my parents' room and floated in at the last minute like a guest in her own home. When I got my first job at 16, Dad charged me $150 a month for discipline. Leia got her first job at 18, and Mom said, "Sweetie, just focus on your dreams." I learned early what my role was supposed to be. Helpful, quiet, never inconvenient. December is always chaos at the hotel. Office parties, charity galas, rehearsal dinners. My calendar turns into a battlefield of color-coded blocks, and for the first time ever, I had saved 3 PTO days in a row to take December 24th, 26 off. My tiny, precious holiday. I wanted silence. I wanted to wake up without a to-do list. Just one day, that was mine. One day before Christmas, I stopped by my parents' place with cookies from the hotel bakery. Mom was in the kitchen wearing her "hosting is my cardio" sweatshirt. Dad had a football game on mute. Leia was curled on the couch, bare feet tucked under her, scrolling like she was allergic to gravity. Mom gave me a smile I've come to dread, the one that means she has already made plans for me. "Oh, perfect timing," she chirped. "Leia's friends are spending Christmas here this year, only 35 people. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because sometimes your body reacts before your sanity can intervene. 35? I echoed. Leia didn't even look up. "It's basically my whole creative cohort, plus ones, maybe plus twos," she said. "Vibes." Mom had already pulled out the big roasting pans. "We'll do stations, grazing, carving, desserts. You can handle the timeline." "Me?" I asked, like a stranger invited into someone else's conversation. "Obviously you," Dad said, eyes still on the TV. "You're good at this." Mom kept going, energized the way other people get excited about vacation. "We need chairs, extra ice, vegetarian options. You'll handle the turkey, the ham, the salmon. Oh, can you ask your hotel if we can borrow chafers?" "And a mocktail bar," Leia added. "Oh, and 2 gluten-free people," she said, scrolling faster. "Wait, 3. Mom smirked at me. "I know you'll handle it. Grown women don't need to open presents. They take responsibility." Dad added, "Get used to discipline, Elka. You've got 24 hours. There it was, the invisible leash tightening around my throat. The kitchen smelled like lemon cleaner. The roasting pan clanged like a bell when Mom set it down. And for a moment, it felt like it was announcing me, the servant, again. Mom had already posted a sticky note on the fridge that said menu with a blank underneath it, like a dare, like she was waiting for me to fill it. I felt the familiar list start forming inside my mind, tasks crawling into place, one by one, like unwelcome guests. Leia snapped a photo of the empty cutting board. "Christmas content," she said. I put the cookies down. I took a breath so small I hoped no one heard it, and I whispered, "Got it." I didn't argue, not there, not then. I walked to the sink, ran the water until it turned hot, listened to the hiss of the faucet like it was whispering secrets only I could hear. The trigger wasn't a scream. It was that smirk. It was only 35. It was the way my name was already written on a blank menu in a house I didn't even live in anymore. Nobody asked me what I wanted for Christmas. They never do. At the hotel, my job title is Assistant Event Manager. In my family, it means free labor with a smile. It started when I was 12. Deviled eggs, because your hands are neat. At 16, grilling for 20, because your timing is good. At 20, I knew where all the tablecloths were stored and how to fix a wobbly folding table. "You're a natural," Mom would say, like she discovered me. And money? Money always arrived with pretty new names. Dad called it discipline when he took money from my paycheck. Mom called it helping when she put me on the family phone plan and forgot to switch her card back after I'd paid 2 months in a row. Leia called it energy when she texted me for $83 because the universe will return it. The universe had terrible credit, apparently. There were scenes in my memory like reruns. My graduation party merged with Leia's portfolio showcase. My champagne promotion overshadowed by new dining chairs Mom wanted. Leia's brunch photos where only my hands appeared in the frame. And every time Mom said, "We're family, we help each other." Except helping always flowed one direction, from me to them. Somewhere in early December, I built a digital folder called Elsewhere. Photos of places I'd never been. Paris cafes, cobblestone streets, a blue door I didn't know yet but felt drawn to. Not because I hated my family, but because I wanted to feel what it was like to be in a room where no one knew my last name. That night, after the 35-person bombshell, I opened the folder again, looked at that blue door, and something in me loosened, like a knot I'd been carrying since childhood had finally slipped. My phone buzzed, a message from Adam, my boyfriend. "How was your visit? Are they behaving?" I almost told him everything. Almost told him I felt like a ghost wearing an apron. But instead I typed, "Same as always." He replied with a heart. His ex had been texting him again recently. Some closure nonsense, but I didn't have the energy to deal with that emotional circus tonight. I closed my phone, opened the Elsewhere folder one last time, and clicked the thing nobody in my family ever bothered to offer me. A ticket, a way out, a yes meant just for me. I booked the flight to Paris. Christmas Eve, and I didn't tell a soul. The next morning, Mom called a Christmas strategy meeting, because of course she did. She thrives on agendas the way other people thrive on sunlight. When I walked into the kitchen, it was already staged like a war room. Mom had a printed run of show with little boxes to tick. Dad sat with his coach voice ready, like he was about to lead a football team instead of his own daughters. Leia had her phone in selfie mode, prepared to film a behind-the-scenes of Christmas prep vlog, where I would, naturally, be the unpaid labor in the background. The roasting pan glinted on the counter like a trophy I never asked for. Mom cleared her throat like she was about to begin a board meeting. "Okay, Elkie," she said brightly. "You'll shop tonight. 2 turkeys, 1 ham, salmon for the pescatarians, a full veggie station for plant-based guests." "Plant-based guests," Leia echoed like she was reciting poetry. "Rental chairs arrive at noon tomorrow," Mom continued. "You'll pick them up at 9. Oh, and call the hotel about the chafers. Tell them it's an emergency." I blinked. "Mom, I can't borrow from the hotel. They'll notice if—" She waved me off. "It's the season." Dad added, "And we need a signature cocktail. You're good at those. Not too sweet. Use the good ice." "And your card gets points," Mom said. "Costco run too. You'll cover that." Leia chimed in. "No dairy, no soy, no nuts, no nightshades. But make it cozy." The way she said it, airy, entitled, careless, made something inside me twist. Mom dropped the final bomb. "Oh, and the tent deposit is due today. It's only $900. "Only," Dad echoed. That word, weaponized like a knife. I swallowed. "Who's paying me back?" The room froze, like I'd said something obscene. Mom stared at me as if I'd confessed to a crime. "Don't be transactional. It's ugly. We're family." Dad leaned back, crossing his arms. "We're giving you a project. You should be grateful." Grateful for being their servant. I felt heat rising in my throat, a scream that wanted out, a life's worth of swallowed words clawing upward. But what came out wasn't a scream. It was quiet. Clean. No. 3 heads turned so sharply the air shifted. Leia stopped recording. Mom's smile froze like a buffering video. Dad's jaw clenched. "What?" Mom whispered. "No," I repeated. "I'm not catering your party." Dad's voice dropped. "Watch your tone." "This is my tone," I said evenly. Leia scoffed. "That's funny. You're joking." "I'm not," I said. "I'm not your chef. I'm not your runner. I'm not your rental account. I'm your daughter." Mom tried her syrupy voice, the sweet one she uses to manipulate. "Sweetheart, this is family. We show up." "I have shown up," I said. "For years. With my hands. With my time. With my wallet." Dad growled. "A man provides." I looked at him, my jaw tight. "I'm not a man, but I know what provision looks like, and this isn't it. This is exploitation." Mom's voice cracked, sharp and cutting. "Don't ruin the holiday." "I'm not ruining anything. I'm opting out of being your staff." Dad slammed his hand on the table. The silverware rattled. "We will not be disrespected in our own home." I stood slowly. "Then respect me in your home." Leia glared, red-faced. So what? We just cancel? You'll embarrass me? No, I said. You'll host your own party with your own resources. Mom launched the final guilt missile. After everything we've done for you. I know, I cut in. You raised me, you fed me, and since 16, I paid rent. I paid your phone bills when you forgot. I covered groceries. I ran your parties. I loved you. But I'm done being your unpaid employee. You're jealous, Leia snapped. I like you, I said to her. I just don't like being used. Dad's face turned a dangerous shade of red. If you walk out that door, don't come back. You're banned from Christmas. Banned? I repeated softly. Okay. Mom gasped, hand to her chest. So you're choosing selfishness? If staying means being a servant, I said, then yes, I choose selfish. I grabbed my coat, the cookies I'd brought yesterday, and walked out of the house that treated me like staff for 28 years. Outside, the winter air slapped my face. It felt like permission. At home, my phone buzzed. Mom, Dad, Leia. A swarm of notifications. I didn't open a single one. Instead, I opened my elsewhere folder. Staring at me was the thing I'd bought in a moment of bravery. A round-trip ticket to Paris. Christmas Eve departure. My first real yes to myself. My phone buzzed again. A message from Adam, my boyfriend. I know you're stressed. Call if you need me. I almost did, but his ex-girlfriend had texted yesterday. Something weird like, I hope she appreciates you the way I didn't. A strange, intrusive little message that made me uneasy. But that drama belonged to another part of my life. Right now, this moment belonged to me. I texted Adam back simply, I'm okay, just a lot. Then I silenced my phone, packed lightly, jeans, sweaters, toothbrush, passport, and printed my boarding pass. At 11:45 p.m., as the city outside moved like a tired animal, I sent one final text to the family group chat. I'm not hosting your Christmas party. I'm taking my holiday back. Then I got in the Uber, heading toward the airport, toward a life where my labor didn't define me, toward a place where no one knew my last name. My flight took off at 11:45 p.m., the exact moment the city below began to blur into a ribbon of lights. I watched it shrink through the window. The houses, the neighborhoods, the weight of decades. All the rooms where I'd cooked, cleaned, obeyed. I didn't feel guilty. I felt air, room, possibility. I landed in Paris on Christmas Eve morning when the sky was gray and soft like someone had painted it with a quiet brush. The airport was full of families dragging luggage, children tugging candy canes, couples whispering to each other with sleepy devotion. And then there was me, alone, but not lonely, not this time. I checked into the tiny boutique hotel I'd booked with points. Creaky wooden floors, windows that opened to a street that smelled faintly of pastries and rain. The receptionist gave me a key and a map, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't planning for anyone but myself. Before I even unpacked, my phone vibrated on the desk, a waterfall of messages. Mom, where's the turkey? Where's the good knife? We need ice. Dad, you're being dramatic. This is your responsibility. Then, minutes later, this is your last warning. Leia, OMG Elkie, are you serious right now? People are arriving in 2 hours. You've ruined Christmas for 35 people. The messages kept coming. Ping, ping, ping. Like someone tapping a spoon against a glass, hoping to summon a servant. I placed the phone face down. I walked outside into the cold, letting the quiet absorb me. There was a bakery on the corner from the photos I'd saved. A blue door, the one that had caught my heart months ago. It was real. More real than anything in my parents' house had felt in years. I pushed the door open. Warmth greeted me. A woman behind the counter handed me a paper bag of still warm bread. Merry Christmas, she said in accented English. I nodded, eyes stinging for reasons I didn't fully understand. Thank you, I managed. Then I whispered the only word I felt capable of holding. Mercy. Back in my hotel room, the messages had changed tone. Leia, there's no mocktail bar. Where are the plates? What about the good salt? Mom, I can't believe this is happening. We asked for one thing, one. Then the shift. Mom, you're banned from this family. Dad, you're cut off. Leia, you're dead to me. I sat on the bed and ate warm bread, letting each message burn out like a cheap candle. Dead to them? No. I'd simply stopped being convenient. At 8:12 p.m., one single message broke through the noise. Grandma, taxi ordered for me. Thank you, darling. And an hour later, a photo of her wearing a paper crown, sitting with a simple roasted chicken on her plate. The caption, good, warm. She didn't need me to serve her. She just needed me to live my life, to be happy. That meant something. On Christmas morning, Paris was silent, except for the sound of church bells echoing down the narrow streets. I had coffee at a cafe so small my knees touched the underside of the table. I walked along the river, breathing in air that didn't demand anything from me. My phone buzzed again. Mom, reset after the holiday. I typed back, I'm not resetting to being your staff. Send. The river kept flowing. The world didn't end. Later that afternoon, I opened my email. The subject line stunned me. Assignment offer, 3 months, Paris. A hotel group I'd interviewed with months ago had an opening. Seasonal contract. Housing stipend. Training for a permanent event management role. I read it twice. A third time, my heart beat in my throat. I accepted. I spent the next hour filling in forms, sending documents, confirming dates. Then I texted Grandma. I think I'm staying here a while. She responded with a thumbs up emoji, shaky but perfect. On December 27th, I flew home only long enough to pack my things. Adam came over to help, and for the first time, I saw him differently, not as someone I leaned on, but as someone walking beside me. When I mentioned my parents banning me, he didn't try to fix it. He just held my hand quietly. His phone buzzed once, his ex texting again. He silenced it immediately. I'm here with you, he said, and he meant it. Before leaving my apartment for the last time, I made a list titled, Exit Checklist. Cancel family from my phone plan. Remove them from shared grocery apps. Update mailing address. Change locks. Block group chat. Send Grandma postcard from Paris. Leave without guilt. One by one, I checked the boxes. Not punishment, just cleaning. Mom called 12 times. Dad left a voicemail calling me ungrateful, selfish. Leia begged for one little favor. Her world was collapsing because she'd embarrassed herself online. I listened to none of it. Instead, I cooked a bowl of pasta on the floor of my half-empty apartment, sitting cross-legged beside my suitcase. The last meal in the life they thought I'd never have the courage to leave. As I zipped up my luggage, one final text came in. Mom, are you proud of yourself? I stared at it for a long moment, then typed, Yes, I stopped lying to myself. Send. Now, in Paris, I wake up to the smell of coffee from the cafe downstairs. I walk to work across cobblestone streets that remember every footstep but demand nothing in return. I send Grandma pictures, bridges, pastries, my tiny apartment with slanted ceilings. The family group chat eventually went quiet. People ask me for a moral, but morals are for stories with perfect endings. This one is simpler. I didn't escape. I just closed the door I'd been holding open for far too long. I'm not a servant. I'm not a wallet. I'm not a checklist someone else writes. My name is Elke Malden. I took the trip, the job, and my life back. And when someone says it's only 35 people, I answer with the clearest word I own. No.